clue. So Dan Orlovsky, ESPN, he is a quarterback analyst type, NFL analyst. And this is from weeks ago. It's not from this past week, but it's about Purdy and Sam Darnold and the system, et cetera, et cetera. Listen to what Orlovsky said. Again, this is a few weeks back, but it's very interesting.
Brock Purdy, hope he gets well. If he doesn't play, I do not expect them to skip a beat. I think they will be just fine with Sam Darnold. I have constantly believed that if Sam Darnold was placed on a team that was similar to San Francisco, he would play worthy of that top draft pick. This young man has been weathered. He's mentally been through it all. He's the most talented quarterback physically that Kyle Shanahan has had in that offense, at least since Matt Ryan. So that's 6 or 7 years. Out of all due respect to Brock Purdy, he's a really good player. This offense will be just fine with Sam Darnold.
Wow. I like Orlovsky. I kind of believe him, Steiny. And let's just put a rat on the table, brought to you by Atco.
Nice.
Again, forget the failures, because I do believe you are a product of your environment. And that's why Sam Darnold, not the only reason, not that he wasn't at fault, why he's not had that much success in the NFL. We called this 49er situation with this offense and the toolage of Kyle Shanahan, this defense, just everything that the Niners are about right now. I call it a football version of a limousine. So now you're asking Sam Darnold to go from driving a bucket, a Pinto, with a bad tranny. Now you're telling them, hey, go in there and drive the limousine, son. Now, there'll be no Debo, but other than that, you got to think we're going to see the best version of Sam Darnold. You would think.
You would think.
All right.
However, I'm looking at him during his career with the Jets. He was 4-9, 7-6, 2-10, 4-7, and then last year he was with Carolina. And then what I'm getting at is he's never played in the postseason.
Okay.
And the game he plays Sunday will be the highest stakes game that he will have played in the NFL, because the game he's playing Sunday is for a 5-2 team that's got Super Bowl aspirations, not the Jets or not the Carolina Panthers. So the way I look at it with Sam Darnold is he just has to go out and win the game. The other thing about Sam Darnold, and this is where, yes, are you anxious to? Yes, I'm very anxious.
Yes.
Because this would be one of my. Don't you get it?
Don't you get it?
We'll be able to see. We'll be able to compare and contrast Sam Darnold and this offense with Brock Purdy and this offense. And I know Debo won't be there, but we throw that into the equation. What if Sam Darnold looks really, really good? And I don't mean that from a perspective of, well, maybe you bench Brock, but if you're telling me Sam Darnold, if he quarterbacked this team for the next 5 games could get him to 4-1, then I am thinking, man.
But it's a good problem to have.
Exactly.
Okay.
Exactly.
But that's it.
But what I'm also getting at is if forget Sam Darnold replacing Brock Purdy Sunday for good. You know what I mean? But if Sam Darnold plays a few games and you see, holy hell, Kyle can turn Sam Darnold into a really good quarterback with these weapons, then I don't think it's automatic that Brock Purdy's the franchise quarterback. Like, I know it's way down the line, but I could see Brock Purdy essentially being this guy and the 49ers still not willing to pay him big money when it's all said and done.
Dude, I know you looking at me like, oh, Goo, you don't agree. Steiny, I know how to start from the beginning. And coming out of college means something to me. And physically, and I know the game is played with your brains between your ears, but physically, we know who the superior quarterback, I believe, between the two. And that's Sam Darnold. Okay? I cannot argue, throw shade, or hate at what Brock Purdy has done in the 49er uniform.
You think
coming out of college, Darnold was he can make all the He's a dream to me.
Fair.
And so when you say that, I feel like you're doing the role reversal like Darnold is Mr. Irrelevant. No,
well, he is.
I think Kyle looked at Sam Like, the one thing that Darnold does not have going for him is his success or their lack of in the NFL.
Exactly.
But I think when you're a Jedi, you could take a step back and find a diamond in the rough and say, you know what? Everything around Sam Darnold was doo-doo. That's why he didn't look his best. Not that he's, can't be criticized, but what if I got him and cleaned him up and put him in this offense? And if you can do that with the last pick of the draft, which Kyle's done with Brock Purdy, my God, what can Mr. USC do with this weaponry? That's all, Steiny. His upside was supposed to be greater than Brock Purdy's coming out of college.
Yeah, see, I don't give a rat's behind
you forgot
how
that.
he was senior year at USC coming out, and I don't give a rat's behind that Brock Purdy was the 7th, was Mr. Irrelevant.
Thank you.
I agree with everything you said, and that's why I can't wait to see Sam Darnold. I can't wait, but that's what I'm looking forward to Sunday.
Let me ask you this. Will you be shocked? I won't. If Sam balls out, forget the job. We know it's – but if he – here I go, Steiny. 17 for 24, 285 yards and 3 touchdowns, no picks.
All right.
I wouldn't come in here with my wig blown Monday. Would you?
Well, I'd be pretty impressed because Purdy's only had one of those games this year. I mean,
you would be comparing it to what?
But no, I'll tell you what. If Sam Darnold does that and we come in Monday, then I will. Then to me, well, we'll have to talk about the game and how good he was. But again, if you're telling me that Sam Darnold plays really well on Sunday, it's not. I'm not talking about for this year necessarily, but it. What if it just becomes apparent? And I get it. Beathard never won, but they stunk.
Yeah, they did.
Mullins never won, but that team stunk.
You're right.
What I'm saying is, if you have this team, I could very easily see Kyle Shanahan's part of his overarching strategy is to play in the NFL without a quarterback you have to pay $40 million. I'm starting to think that's actually what he's all about. Now, you can say, what about Garoppolo? They paid him $25.
Yeah.
They did, but they also put stuff in the back end of that contract
to get out.
And they got out. And they got out. So if Sam Darnold plays 6 games this year and the 49ers go 5-1, I mean, then why would you think Purdy's going to be this franchise quarterback?
Well, you would think, hey, here I go.
But you don't have to pay him.
Well,
I mean, what?
Well, that's a bonus for the team as far as spending resources in other places.
That's what I'm saying. I think this is possibly going to become Kyle Shanahan's part of his big strategy. And the big strategy is we can win. If we can put this type of team together, we can win without a quarterback we have to pay $40 million to.
I'm going to go you. Because you asked me this a couple weeks ago. I'm not mad at that. I think it gets more difficult if you keep depending on finding that type of player. But you asked me, and I'll never forget it. Hey, Goo, is the reason Kyle doesn't have a ring because he doesn't have a $40 million quarterback. Like that, I think that's going to reveal itself. So when you say win, Steiny, are you talking about getting to the NFC Championship, a good season, that'll suffice? Or are we talking about the whole thing?
I'm talking about everything.